Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. We are back for some more F1 24 driver career mode for round number 17 of 24, ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. If you did not check out the last video, please go check that out below. That'll be greatly appreciated. It was around the Italian Grand Prix, and to be fair, it was a bit of a nightmare. Really just couldn't keep up with the AI in the straight line. It could either be a bad setup. I mean, who really knows what would have happened, but it was a difficult weekend, and it is time to bounce back. And what better track to do it than Baku? Two street circuits, relatively stronger circuits of mine. Baku and Singapore are, I'd say, probably my best tracks. But I am a little bit afraid of Baku because, well, judging by how the AI have been on the straights, I think we're going to be getting another straight line speed OP type situation. So I hope not, but I'm really having a lot of doubts for this weekend. But yeah, ready to finish off strong, I guess you could say. We've had if I could sum up this season so far, it's really been an up and down. I mean, we've gotten 2 wins so far. I think we got a couple podiums and stuff like that, but so far I really haven't been that pleased with me this season. Really just really been inconsistent, and hoping to try to find that consistency that we have, because I know how good we are, but fortunately just lacking in those areas. But so far, 6th fastest car, which is pretty good. We did bring some upgrades this weekend, and we got a bunch of resource points that actually will help us out, but we do have to kind of keep an eye on, because I think a regulation change could be coming anytime soon. And there's always usually a regulation change, always in Season 1, so that's why I'm trying to keep my eyes out. But if I am willing to switch teams, obviously we've been in contract negotiations with Mercedes, it could be leading towards, maybe switching teams. And to be fair, that's the best offer I think we've had. We've been approached by, I believe, RB as well, VCarb or Toro Rosso, but ultimately declined those talks, and we're looking at possibly joining the Red Bull family, but we declined, and we are looking possibly to join at Mercedes. But if we want to please Mercedes, I think we got to be a little bit more consistent. So looking at some upgrades, drag reduction, engine, ERS, anything we could do. This engine upgrade actually would be crucial for the next round in USA, which is a sprint weekend. But let's get ready for qualifying here around Azerbaijan.
And a warm welcome here ahead of qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Normally these streets are lined with vehicles, it's non-stop traffic jams, but today the roads are closed to everyone except the 20 best drivers in the world. It's time for qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
It is time. Welcome to Saturday around Azerbaijan, and Baku, like I said, very difficult circuit to get used to if from the start, because again, lots of tricky. There's some tricky corners around this track, and just getting everything right is crucial. A lot of curbs that can kind of throw the car off balance, and making sure you can get everything right. And so far, this first lap, ran a little bit wide coming through the castle section, and that was actually not ideal. But we have to carry the speed going into the next couple of corners here. We come across checker flag now, and I believe it's only going to be a 140.195, which actually isn't really that great of a lap. Or 6/10 down, and 6/10 down from Logan Sargent, so that was really not a good lap. And Pierre Gasly chugs that baby in P7. But yeah, really struggling, and looking by first sector times, well, we're losing a lot of time. We're bleeding a lot of time through the straights, and we could challenge through the corners, but we cannot challenge through the straights. So, as I said before, it was really going to be difficult, I think, with the AI straight line speed, and I think we're getting the same issue once again. But last run into Q1, and we're going to need a good lap here. Let's take a lap around this place, and again, we're going to need a really good lap. So, turn 1, like I said, you don't want to touch too much of the inside curb. It's going to throw the car off balance coming into turn number 2 now. Plant the car right, get the exit, and we lost a little bit of time through lots of wheel spin. And again, this track is very, you can lose a lot of grip. This track really just lots of straights and difficult corners to get right. Heading into turn number 3, another lock up there. Maybe touch the outside wall just a little bit. I don't know how much longer. Going into this corner, and now approaching the slow speeds, one of the slow speed corners, I believe, on this racetrack. Left and right. get the car planted to the floor, try to carry as much speed as you can, and approaching now towards coming close to the castle section, which take as much that inside curve became about lost 10th, but we gained about 4 or 5 tenths now. Castle section, very easy to smack the wall, but if you get it right, you get it right. Carry the speed through here, left and right. Don't go too wide, you'll actually invalidate on that lap. 2 tenths now up. We've lost a little bit of time through that couple of corners there, and now you just want to try to find the best line you can. Go to the inside, go right to the outside, brake here, trail brake down there into second gear, up into third. Lost a little bit of time as well, and now approaching the last corner, basically until you foot flat to the floor and you try to find the best time you can. We're only found about a tenth down, so we lost a little bit of time, but this is actually not going to be a good lap anyways to get into Q1, and we're going to be out of we're going to be out. I don't see Q2 in the cards. If we only found about 1/10, I don't know where we lost so much time, but that was really bad, and we're going to be out in Q1 here, and this is going to be a Q1 emulation. I don't think we made it. Let's take a look at what happened. Yeah, we're out. Dead last on the grid. Explain that to me. I think I'm washed up. Absolute shocker of a session. Again, I don't got anything. I bleed so much time through the straights, man. It's pretty bad. We lost about 5 tenths, almost half a second to Hulkenberg. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, again, I can't challenge in the corners. Like, I try my best, but I cannot challenge through the corners. We'll take a look and see, like, the time wise. I mean, it's a 138.973 for Pierre. Look at that sector 3 at 24.3. Let's see where we got in the last sector. 24.6. So 3 tenths down. Yeah, I think it's honestly just the last sector that we're losing a lot of time, but I can feel like I can keep up in the first and the second one, but man, I don't know what else to say really. But it's time to go racing here. Let's go see what we can achieve.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Perez, Norris, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Stroll, Bottas, Tsunoda, Joe, Magnussen, Sargent, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, and Cowboy. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say they've got the better of them more often than not. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Right, back of the grid. I mean, there is literally only one direction we can go from here, so try and move forward and see if we can get something out of it.
I'm going to try, Mark. Thanks for the motivation, but welcome to the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. 26 laps around this street circuit, and yeah, let's just try to see what we can achieve here. Yeah, really abysmal qualifying session that we had, and again, just lacking a lot in that last sector. But Pierre starts P9. Good result for at least the team wise. I mean, one car is doing good and the other car is doing bad. Seems like early in the season, Pierre was kind of struggling, and now towards the second half, we've turned it to Sergio Perez, and we basically just stopped being consistent. In mid-season form, I guess you could say, but and we overshoot the pit box, brilliant. But let's get ready here. Everybody's gonna start on medium. Some drivers are onto the hard tires, but 5 red lights here, 26 laps, and lights out, and away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And that was a horrendous start, very bad off the line, not a good launch as much as you can. Down into turn number 1, we send it on Daniel Ricciardo and also Hulkenberg, and Ricciardo gave us a little, well, that was just too far of a gap there, but we sent one right back down into turn number 2, side by side with Daniel Ricciardo. Obviously me and Ricciardo had a fantastic battle around Spa for P4 in that race, but Ricciardo fights back around the outside. He got the better traction, and he's ultimately going to stay right back ahead, but we send it right down to turn number 3, down on the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, and we give him just enough space on around the outside, and he's still fighting this back. He's going to get the inside line now, and this is a brilliant battle for dead last. This is what we came for. We don't care for P1, we care for P last, I guess you could say. But we get around Daniel Ricciardo now. Next up, Nico Hulkenberg and also Logan Sargent, but I want to be a little bit patient. I don't want to be too aggressive as much as I'm going to be driving like a madman today, just to try to achieve what I can get up in the grid. Again, it's going to be difficult because if we bleed so much time through this last sector, we're going to stand no chance. And we can stay a little bit in hot lap, and usually the race pace is always better than the qualifying pace, seems like, but again, with these long straights, it's going to make it difficult. But Nico Hulkenberg is next up in our target. We've used so much battery in the first lap trying to stay with the AI, and around the outside of Nico Hulkenberg through turn number 1 there, Hulkenberg gives us just enough space, which is actually really good. Nico always seems to give you a good amount of space. Heading into turn number 2 now, and we get around Nico. That was around the outside move, so I'll take that, thank you very much. And now Nico sits back and lives to fight another day, but he's got to hold off Daniel Ricciardo in the RB behind us. Next up, Logan Sargent, our fellow American, who got replaced, and you know, whenever Franco Colapinto is going to come into the game, but who knows. And yeah, Logan Sargent is next up, and Kevin Magnussen up there as well. But we got, again, it only gets trickier from here. Logan and the Williams, they have good straight line speed, which they've always had good straight line speed. I feel like ever since, you know, they just have good straight line speed. And the Haas as well, they got a pretty, I would say their car is pretty slow on the straights, but with the Kick Sauber and everybody else, like, that's going to be easy. But it's never easy when you try to push forward towards upper into the grid, because it always makes it difficult here. But Charles Leclerc sets another fast lap of the race. Now the goal is to stay with Sargent. And how close can we stay with Logan? That is the goal. But we need to keep an eye out for Hulkenberg and also Ricciardo, because like I said, they got some real speed. And what I mean by real speed, I mean they got some pretty rapid speed in the straight line, so it makes it difficult. But Nico, he was thinking about a move there, but he didn't go for it, so he kind of backed out of that one. And we go and basically just, again, we got a massive DRS train coming here, but we're losing a lot of time now to Logan. No mistakes. I mean, I can't keep up with him, and I'm using up so much time, and I'm using up the tires a lot. But again, I cannot get close to him in this second or third sector, because their speed in the straights are insanely quick. And I don't know if it's a setup issue or not, but I cannot catch up. I don't know. I can't do anything. And obviously the DRS is shortened. They shortened the distance of, you know, the DRS zone, so it makes it a little bit difficult. And Nico gets right back around us, and Ricciardo is also going to be all over the back of our gearbox here. So we've gone from absolute stinker to even more of a stinker. And if we can't keep up with Logan, I don't think we're even going to defend it. But look at Ricciardo's straight line speed. Obviously, he's got some DRS there. He's possibly going to get around us. He goes one down the inside, and I think he maybe touched a little bit of the inside wall there. But he's going to back out of that, and he's going to try once again. And all that squabbling happened. We lost about a good second to Nico already, so this kind of is going to sum up this point of this race. And using battery and everything else like that, it doesn't do anything because I cannot catch up whatsoever. So yeah, this is gone from bad to worse, and at this point it's not even fun anymore. I mean, it's not fun. Like, I'm telling you, it's just not fun when you can't keep up and you bleed so much time. It's pretty frustrating. I don't know if anybody else has experienced it, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just washed up. Who really knows? But Ricciardo absolutely got the got everything in the tank, and he's gone right around us. So gonna have to try to stay up with Daniel. Obviously, Daniel lost a good second from sitting behind me, so he's gonna have to a little bit of catch up. But Nico fighting with Sargent, obviously. I mean, again, that Williams does got a pretty quick car in the straight line, so I feel like it makes it difficult. But there's also a massive DRS train. EA, you know, this is before, you know, the patch came out. You know, kind of embarrassing that you couldn't even solve DRS train issues. So you know, maybe get rid of this team and give us story mode team from now on. Please and thank you. But like I said, EA will never listen to us, because why would they? You know what I mean? So we continue on, and lap 7, approaching lap 8. I mean, gonna try to stay up with Daniel here, and I mean, it's gonna be really key to see how much speed we got in the straights here compared to Daniel's speed, and how much we're gonna get on this straight here. And like I said, I mean, I cannot catch up, and he's got DRS too, I got DRS, and we're losing so much time. I mean, so much time. It's really bad. And Daniel and Sargent, they're side by side, and they're gonna keep on fighting. So good battle for P18, and this actually is helping us out a little bit. But I mean, again, they got, look at this, like, look how quick they are. I mean, with the, that doesn't make sense, man. Like, come on, like that's just, oh man, just that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's, if I can't catch up in the straights, then there's really no point in racing, I guess you could say, you know, and clearly not. So yeah, lap 10 now, and again, I think I might have made a little bit of a mistake somewhere, or I just lost a lot of time from just kind of giving up. But we're 2 seconds off the pace. We're not really gaining much time. Pit window opens in about, I believe, 4 laps. I think our pit window opens at lap 13, so we're maybe going to get something a little bit on our hands. But I mean, again, I'm going to try this pit stop, and actually pit window opens now, so that's a good sign. We'll come into the pits, and we'll see how the pace difference. Maybe it's just the medium tire. Maybe the medium doesn't feel good. We'll go to the hard and see if it's a little bit better. But I hope Pierre's race is going well, because ours ain't. So, and again, this is not really helping us in the constructors fight with Aston Martin. And yeah, it's really just gonna get to us pretty bad, I guess you could say. But coming up the pits now. Next up, I believe, was Bottas. Bottas is 3 seconds ahead, obviously, and that's fairly close. Unless he got held up at the pit lane, who really knows? But when Daniel and Sargent come out, we'll actually see where they're at. But hard tire, I mean, again, we'll see if we could maybe match Bottas's pace. I mean, if we can at least match his pace, then at least that's good. But no matter what, through this stint, he's just gonna probably take off like a lion, and you know, it's going to be a little bit difficult. And again, that Kick Sauber, it's slower than us. Again, you know, obviously they made some changes. Some cars do a lot better on some tracks than others. Maybe it's just my car. Maybe it's just this. Maybe the Alpine just does not work around Baku, if you know what I mean. Maybe it just struggles. I mean, again, this is a, you know, I wouldn't say it's a high downforce track. I mean, you do need some straight line speed, but it's not like it's not, let's say, Monaco, when you need 50-50 wings. I mean, here's Pierre. He's in this train, and he's stuck behind, I believe, is that a Haas or a Red Bull? That might be a Haas. So he's stuck behind someone, so he seems to be struggling. Oh, but there also is a Ferrari there. Brilliant. And someone's blowing up. That's actually Fernando Alonso. His engine completely combusted. And speaking of engines blowing up, I think that's what's happening with our engine, because if we can't match everybody else, and look at Daniel's pace, I mean, 4.6, almost 4.5, and that was just in the span of 1 lap, and we pitted a lap earlier, so I'm not really gaining much time. I'm not, like, again, this is just not even fun at this point. If I'm this far off the pace, if I can't catch up, I mean, we're running around for nothing. It's like Japan all over again. And if you saw the Japan career mode race, where obviously we had the moment, the spin heading into close to the Degnas, I think we're gonna have to retire the car here again. And I don't usually give up in these races, but when you're this far off the pace and you can't match the AI, it just makes it undrivable and unplayable. So I think she's a bit tired. She's had a pretty rough season. We've had a pretty rough season. I think it's time to retire the car and kind of just sit back and try to maybe carry our momentum into Singapore. But yeah, we're coming into the pits. I guess we'll call this a we'll blame it on a setup, or we'll blame it on something. I mean, we'll debrief, but yeah, I am not happy, I guess you could say. Not happy whatsoever with this. EA, please fix it.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
And 3 wins in a row now, of course, Croft. You've thrown the gauntlet down. The drivers are out there now. They realise that they are the target. They're the ones to beat. They've got the energy, they've got the momentum on their side.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Well, Max Verstappen wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix ahead of Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez, so good start and good stat. Max has been, I think he has a good, decent gap in the championship this year as well. So, in this save, so I think he's doing pretty well this season. I feel like he's won a good amount of races, so he's got to be doing something good. And Leclerc coming on P2, which Leclerc was putting some pressure on him in the race, so that was pretty good. Sergio Perez coming on P3, but from our side, really, nothing much more to say than just EA, fix your damn game. Is that nice to say? I don't know if I can even say that. I might get banned for just assaulting EA right there, but yeah, I mean, if anybody, I don't know, like, maybe it's a car issue, maybe it's a setup issue, who really knows, but I can keep up in the straights, like I can, but not the straights, I can keep up in the corners, but I bleed so much time through the straights, and it's that third sector where I bled so much time, and like, what are we doing, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't, and I'm kind of struggling to find answers, but yeah, I guess the only thing I could say is just kind of we push forward for Singapore, and again, Singapore is relatively a stronger track for me. I feel like Singapore is probably arguably, I'd say probably one of my best tracks, next to Baku, which actually Baku is a really strong track of mine, but I just seem to clearly not get anything right. Checking race delta and just delta and everything, you know, good to look at the telemetry and everything else like that. Yeah, just, I mean, again, Pierre was in some DRS, so obviously he's going to have a lot of quicker lap times, and, you know, again, we weren't really in traffic, we were in clean air, and we were in clean air, we couldn't even catch up, so if that just doesn't sum up the answer of this weekend, I don't know what does. I don't really know, but we did get some track limits warnings, but who really cares when you're dead last, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll just push forward and see what we can do in Singapore. Again, strong circuit of mine. Another street circuit, I think it could suit us very well. I mean, again, who really knows? This year's been, this season has been pretty weird, I guess you could say, for Alpine. So, and again, we gotta start impressing Mercedes if we want to get that drive. But thank y'all for watching this video. Sorry for everybody really struggling to get uploads out. It's been really busy for me the past couple of months, but I appreciate everybody who's been supporting this channel. I love you all. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your week. Stay safe out there, and I'll see y'all in the next one.